Get over it. No, I mean, no, you would take that wrong. Either you stay in it or you get over it. It's one of the two. Stay in the relationships that are causing you misery, stay in the health issues that, when I say stay in it, I'm talking about getting in there and trying to figure it out, fighting it, laying awake at night, trying to figure it out. What should I do? And, I can't leave this relationship because they're going to be so sad without me, or they're going to jump off a cliff, or because I need the drama in my life or whatever. Stay in it then, or get over it. Getting over it means, okay, I release all of this stuff. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go up to your partner and tell them to move out. You just release it, and then it happens. Remember, it's all your energy. That's it. It's that simple. And you just get over it. Or we could sit here and go another 10 years and keep talking and more piles of questions, or we get over it collectively. I do believe you're ready to get over it. I do believe that you don't know how to gulf applauses. You're not sure if you have permission to get over it. That easy. That you like, oh, you mean I can just get over it? I'm like, yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. Or you can stay in it. But I think all you need is permission to get over it, and then it happens. And then the relationship recreates itself or uncreates itself. The health issues, the abundance issue. I'm so tired of abundance issues. If you're new, do not come here and complaining about your abundance. I'm tired of that now. It's all your energy. How could you have an abundance issue unless you buy into old mass consciousness concepts? And if you are bought into them, get over it. That's our theme of today. Just get over it. You got to get over it. How do you do that? You just get over it. You don't process it. Somebody said, well, you go to see a counselor. No. You get therapy. No more therapy. No more therapy. It's bullshit. It is. It serves humans, semi-awake, sometimes unconscious humans. At least they feel that somebody's listening. And that's really important to them, that somebody hears about their trauma. But ultimately, you get to this point, it does not serve you. And to self-therapize, I guess that's the word, self-therapy, forget about it. It runs you in circles. It gives credence to the very thing that you're trying to release. It gives spirit. It brings it to life, just like this podium has an awareness. So will that wound. And that wound isn't even real to begin with. You're only remembering part of an experience, not the whole thing. You're only seeing one layer and level. Get over your processing. All of you. Grow up. Oh, I love this. No, I mean, grow up spiritually. Get over it. It happened, or it was part of an experience. We simply don't have room for processing where we go and you say, well, how do I get over it? I have these ghosts and memories, and you take a deep breath and you say, I am here. Here, not there. I am here. And you don't think about it. And you don't battle it either. You don't fight those demons anymore. You don't fight oh, poor me, and I don't have any abundance, and none of that. We don't have room for it. You wake up in the morning and you continue on with these battles and these demons. I'm going to ask you right now to get over it. You do not have that luxury anymore. And you know exactly I'm talking to you. You use it as an excuse. It's a dirty rag you carry around with you. It's not the life that you chose, at least not when you were in a higher consciousness. It's the life that you succumb to. It's a life that gives you excuses for not doing what you came here to do. It's a life that you go to, you rely on at times because of the fear, am I good enough to shine my light? And you are. You just don't have the luxury of blaming it on others. You don't have the luxury of dragging around your old crap. And some of you love that. You love dragging around and poor you and all the difficulties. It's time to get over that. You don't have the luxury. You don't even have the right as a master to continue dragging around the old stuff. Emotional wounds, get over them. Once and for all. We've talked about this for years, but some of you insist on dragging it around, the poor me, I got screwed over by the world, and the government controls everything, and all the rest of that. You do not have that luxury if you're going to stay here on the planet as an embodied master shining your light. There's challenges in your life, and I see you working on those challenges. But you know what happens? Is like you get caught in a fear, an emotional fear that makes no sense whatsoever, but it's there. You get caught in the fear, and it's like getting caught in a spider's web. And that spider is the fear or the doubt or the uncertainty or whatever it happens to be. You get caught in that spider's web. Now the spider's got you. Now the fight and the struggle is on to preserve yourself, to save yourself from the spider of fear or doubt or incompetence or whatever it happens to be. Now you're engaged in a fight. But I can tell you one thing, dear human. You're in the spider's web. It's the spider's territory. The spider wove it just for you. And the spider knows you're going to fight. And you know what happens in the spider's web? As you're in there and you start the fight, you get more tangled up. When you encounter that fear, which you're going to because you're living in the planet and you're living in a body, when you encounter that fear or the doubt or whatever it happens to be, the confusion, I can't make a decision, I don't know what to do. When you're in that, go all the way through it. When you start finding yourself going into the spider's web, and you know it's inevitable, you know it's there, go through. Don't stop. Don't fight. Don't process the issue. Don't try to outthink the issue because you're in the web. You're going to get caught. Don't try to rationalize yourself out of it. Don't try to meditate yourself out of it. Don't try to seek counselors who are going to help you get out of it because all you're going to do is bring them into your spider's web. That's all. When you find that you're confronted with fear or doubt or uncertainty, or you just your life is a total mess, take a deep breath and go through it. Go into it deeper. It makes no human sense, but from an energy sense, it's totally appropriate. So what do? You take a deep breath and you allow yourself to go into it fully and thoroughly. It doesn't make sense, not at all. How? I allow myself to go into a fear, I'm going to get consumed by it. No, because you're going to pass right through the center of the spider's web, but you're going to keep going. You're going to go right through any fear, any anxiety, any dilemma that's in your life, no matter what it is. You're going to take a deep breath and you're going to put on those wings of your dreams and you're going to fly right through. You're not going to resist or try to alter or try to fight or try to think your way through it. You just slap on or strap on those wings and go. That's it. And there is a moment of terror as you're heading straight into that spider web and you got those wings on you like, oh shit, Adamus, I hope you were right about this because I'm going right into the heart of doubt and fear. And what happens next? You're on the other side. You're on the other side of all of that. The human consciousness, the spider web is human consciousness, your consciousness. Now you're on the other side. You look back and you realize there actually really wasn't a spider's web. You realize that all the fears that you feared weren't really actually there. I mean, you built them up in your mind, in your energy field. You built them up. Now you're on the other side of them. There was no fight. And what's there now is the sweet nectar of wisdom that is now yours as a human. Heretofore has not been really available. It's like allowing. And no matter what happens, no matter what the human would fear, more cancer, possible death, not being a good enough creator to create health, no matter what the human fears, you go through it, Master. You go through it, and what you find on the other side is the wisdom. Not that you're trying to go through it seeking healing or seeking anything else. You go through it because it is no longer yours. You don't own it. You're not going to fight it. None of that. Whatever issue there is in your life, an old childhood emotion that keeps coming up, it keeps coming up because you keep playing with it. Something that you haven't been able to work your way through. You don't process it. You do not process it. Processing is the spider's dessert. Now you're caught in the web and you're processing. You're just turning yourself sweeter. You're just coating yourself with processing sugar, waiting for the spider to come and devour you. That's all. You don't process in this. You don't think about it. You don't intellectualize it. You strap on those wings and you go right through it. That's it. There's no fight left in anything. There's no fight left. Human, hear me, human, me in my bad mood today. Hear me. There's no fight left when you get to this point. There's no fight in cancer, in poverty, or in any of that. None. Do you understand that, human? Stop fighting. Get those wings on and just get it over with. And on the other side is that wisdom, that nectar. That's it. When you try to stay on the other side of it, and you try to run from it or hide from it or pretend that it's not there, you're losing out on the experience. But you're also losing out on what I would call the resolution or the transformation of energies that are happening. You're staying on just this side of it, and your body continues to be in pain, and your mind continues to get crapped up, and you get anxiety and all these other things. But dive deep into it, and when you do, it's kind of like a nautilus or a spiral, and it's the circular spiraling. And as you get into the tighter and tighter pattern of it, you get to the core of it, you go through it, go right into the core of it. Yes, including pain, including if you have some sort of physical ailment or you're mentally feeling way off, dive deep into it. Because you're going to discover that from the perspective you were looking at it from the identity perspective that you were looking at it from, it's not what it really is. When you dive deep into it, you realize that there's tremendous wisdom. When you dive deep into it, you realize there actually really wasn't pain. I mean, I know you feel it now, but when you dive deep into it, it just tells you, you realize there were just signals going out to you to change a few things in your life. The pain in your body, even the pain in your mind, are really just alerts or signals. That's all they are, even disease. You dive deep into these things, and then you get the fullness of the experience, you get all the wisdom, and you get the resolution. And yes, some have called this me being channeled by the one they call Bob Newhart. Lights all the way down, lights all the way down.
Dr. Switzer?
Yes, come in. I'm just washing my hands.
I'm Catherine Bigman. Janet Carlisle referred me.
Oh, yes. Fear of being buried alive in a box.
Yes, that's me. Should I lay down?
Oh, no, we don't do that anymore. Just have a seat. And let me tell you a bit about our billing. I charge $5 for the first 5 minutes, and then absolutely nothing after that. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Too good to be true, as a matter of fact.
Well, I can almost guarantee you that our session won't last the full 5 minutes. Now, we don't do any insurance billing, so you would either have to pay in cash or by check.
Wow, okay.
And I don't make change.
All right.
And go.
Go.
Well, tell
What?
me about the problem that you wish to address.
Oh, okay. Well, I have this fear of being buried alive in a box. I start thinking about being buried alive and I begin to panic.
Has anyone ever tried to bury you alive in a box?
No, but truly thinking about it does make my life horrible. I mean, I can't go through tunnels or be in an elevator or in a house, anything boxy.
So what you're saying is you're claustrophobic.
Yes, that's it.
All right, well, let's go, Catherine. I'm going to say 2 words to you right now. I want you to listen to them very, very carefully. Then I want you to take them out of the office with you and incorporate them into your life.
Well, shall I write them down?
Well, if it makes you comfortable, it's just 2 words. We find most people can remember them.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay, here they are. Stop it!
I'm sorry?
Stop it!
Stop it?
Yes, S-T-O-P, new word, I-T.
So, what are you saying?
You know, it's funny. I say 2 simple words, and I cannot tell you the amount of people who say exactly the same thing you're saying. I mean, this is not Yiddish, Catherine. This is English. Stop it.
So, I should just stop it.
There you go. I mean, you don't want to go through life being scared of being buried alive in a box, do you? I mean, that sounds frightening.
It is.
Then stop it.
I can't. I mean, it's been with me since childhood.
No, we don't go there. Just stop it.
So I should just stop being afraid of being buried alive in a box.
You got it. Good go. Well, it's only been 3 minutes, so that will be $3.
Actually, I only have a 5, so.
Well, I don't make change.
Then I guess I'll take the full 5 minutes.
Fine. All right. Well, what other problems would you like to address?
I'm bulimic. I stick my fingers down my throat.
Stop it! What are you, nut of some kind? Don't do that.
But I'm compelled to. My mom used to call me fatty.
No, we don't go there.
But I've been having this dream.
No, we don't go there either.
But my horoscope did say.
We definitely don't go there. Just stop it. What else?
Well, I have self-destructive relationships with men.
Stop it! You want to be with a man, don't you?
Yes.
Well, then stop it. Don't be such a big baby.
I wash my hands a lot.
That's all right.
It is?
I wash my hands all the time. There's a lot of germs out there. Yeah, don't worry about that one.
I'm afraid to drive.
Well, stop it! How are you going to get around? Get in the car and drive, you kook. Stop it!
You stop it! You stop it!
What's the problem, Kathy?
I don't like this. I don't like this therapy at all. You're just telling me to stop it.
And you don't like that.
No, I don't.
So you think we're moving too fast? Is that it?
Yes. Yes, I do.
All right, then let me give you 10 words that I think will clear everything up for you. You want to get a pad and a pencil for this one?
All right.
Are you ready? Mm-hmm. All right, here are the 10 words. Stop it or I'll bury you alive in a box!
That's all it takes. No more. Stop it. Whatever. I'm done with it. No more abundance issues. We're going to today go into the next level of how energy really serves you. No more. No more. And if you insist on holding on, making excuses, or saying, but I've tried, stop it. No more. Not that it's not about trying. And I know I would say maybe about 42% of Shaumbra in the last month said, but I've really been trying. No, you haven't. You've been thinking a lot about it, your issue. You've been maybe wondering how it got there and wondering how long it's going to be around. But we're not going to go into that. It's just simply no more. Done. Then you take a deep breath and you allow the energies to go to work. You take a deep breath and you realize you really are willing to let go of that old issue of suffering. In your mind, a lot of you are saying, "Oh, but yeah, I'm ready to let that go," but you haven't. You haven't. It's still there, and it's still there because you want it to be there. Be pissed off at me, I don't care. You still want it to be there. It's like a comfort blanket. It's like part of your identity, and more than anything else, it's a great big fat memory, a great big memory, and you're just not willing to let it go. You use excuses. You say, but I don't know how to get rid of it. It's real simple. I'm willing to get rid of it. No more. I'm done. Walk on. That's it.